Hello and welcome to Explore TBR, the channel dedicated to finding and exploring what remains of the historic Thailand-Burma Railway. In this video, we will be exploring the railway in the area around Hellfire Pass. Other than the bridge on the River Kwai in Kanchanaburi, this is probably the most famous section of the line. Conditions at the camps in this area were notoriously bad because of the mountainous terrain, which made transportation of supplies difficult, and also the work itself was very difficult as much of the railway line in this area had to be cut out of hard rock. There is almost no flat land here on which to build the railway, and the first 2.4 kilometers of this hike is almost continuous cutting, bridging, and embankments. There are 7 large trestle bridges in just this 2.4 kilometers. Only as you approach Hintok Station does the land level off, but even then only briefly as the rough terrain quickly resumes beyond Hintok. This entire section of the line has been cleared and turned into a walking trail, funded by the Australian government. Let's have a look at the area as it is today on Google Maps. I'll show the terrain view to give a better picture of why the railway follows this route. As we saw in the Tarso video, the problem is here. The railway had been generally following the north side of the Kwai Noi River all the way up from Kanchanaburi. But here the cliffs come right up to the river's edge, and if the railway was going to follow the river, it would require many kilometers of Wampo-style viaduct, which was not practical. So the Japanese engineers wanted the railway to go inland up and over this cliff away from the river. To that end, the line started climbing all the way back at Tarso or Namtok at around 100 meters elevation. The line climbed to the top of this plateau at Namtok and continued following the contours of the land northwards. Here, between Tonchan and Tampi, there was another similar obstacle, so the line curved around, roughly following the highway at this S-bend, continuing to climb up this cliff through cuttings, just like back at Namtok. As the line reached the top of the cliff, it cut inland, still climbing and heading toward the pass here. This was the summit, around 240 meters in elevation. From here, it's all downhill all the way to Kinsayok. Zooming in a bit on the Hellfire Pass section, the line passed around the north side of this hill here and then started its descent down the cliff face, crossing this bendy road here. If you drive down this road, the railway line is very obvious as it crosses, especially on the north side of the road. Google has picked up that there is a path here, marked out by this white line. The start of the hiking trail is here at the Hellfire Pass Museum. Hellfire Pass itself cut through this rock bluff here. The line continued descending, cut into the rocky hillside for hundreds of meters along this section, then crosses a large embankment and bridges around the curve of the valley, then briefly flattening out past Hintok Station here, and then through compressor cutting, which cut through this point of rock. Then the line turned northwest, still descending, towards Kanyu and Kinsayok. Let's have a look at the features along the railway in this section. Starting from the Hellfire Pass Museum, follow the signs to the walking trail. There's a second trail which splits off and instead of descending to track level, follows the terrain parallel to the line and reaches a lookout over Hellfire Pass. Retracing your steps to the main trail, you will descend a long stairway to the track bed. The railway line extends to the left and right. To the left, the trail runs for about 300 meters to the point where it crosses the bendy road which runs down to the valley floor. Beyond this road, the trackbed can be followed, but the trail is not cleared and it will be difficult. Most visitors immediately turn to the right on the main walking trail, which extends for a little more than 4 kilometers through Hellfire Pass and beyond to compressor cutting. Quite quickly, you will see evidence of the grueling work required to chisel the railway trace out of the mountainous terrain. Within a few meters, a large rock face is exposed on the right-hand side. This cutting on the right-hand side extends for much of the next 1.8 kilometers. After 350 meters, you will come to the start of Kanyu cutting, more famously known as Hellfire Pass. This 260-meter-long, 20-meter-deep cutting, the deepest cutting on the entire railway, could have more easily been carved out as a tunnel cut from both ends at the same time. But the Japanese engineers wanted the railway finished very quickly, and tunneling would have been too slow. Instead, it was cut from the top downwards along its entire length at the same time, so that it sank deeper and deeper into the rock as construction progressed. Hellfire Pass got its name from the nighttime view from the top looking down into what looked like the jaws of hell, as the starving POWs slaved in the depths lit by torchlight. Hundreds of prisoners died from disease, starvation, and neglect in the camps around Hellfire Pass. At the far end of the cutting, there is a memorial to the men who perished and to the Australian medical officer Weary Dunlop, who is widely credited with saving thousands of lives not only with his medical skills, but also simply by keeping up the prisoners' morale, which was often the difference between life and death. Photo 8 was taken in Hellfire Pass, looking back towards the start of the trail. This clip shows the walk through Hellfire Pass. Just beyond Hellfire Pass, the track immediately passed over the first bridge of this section, about 6 meters deep and 25 meters long, followed by a short level section of ground. Then the track passed over the second bridge, much bigger at around 130 meters long and 10 meters high. Another 140 meters of ledge cut into the cliffside follows, and then the third bridge, 60 meters long and 10 meters high. On the far side of this bridge, Photo 7 shows the extensive stonework of the embankment leading up to the bridge. For the next 300 meters, the right-hand side was cut out of the rocky hillside to make a ledge for the track bed, while the left side drops steeply down to the valley floor. Partway along, there is one small cutting, and then the hammer and tap cutting extends 105 meters through a bluff. It was named for the technique used to cut it. Men worked in pairs, one holding an iron tap and the other pounding it into the rock with a sledgehammer. In this manner, the cutting was chiseled 10 meters down through the rock to reach track level. The scoring marks left by the taps in the rock face are still visible today. Photo 6 is taken at the start of hammer and tap cutting, looking through the cutting. Beyond this is the fourth bridge, 75 meters long and 10 meters high. This clip shows the walk from the third bridge through hammer and tap cutting to the fourth bridge. For the next 320 meters, the track bed is much the same as the preceding section. A ledge cut into the cliffside with a rocky cutting on the right-hand side and a steep drop on the left, with 2 more cuttings carved through rocky bluffs. The 5th bridge, an enormous span 80 meters long and 15 meters high, is just beyond these cuttings. After another 140 meters, the 6th bridge, 80 meters long and 15 meters high, spans the gap across to the start of the so-called 7-meter embankment. The stepped concrete ends and footings for this bridge are still visible across the floor of the ravine it crossed. Threaded iron rods used to secure the wooden bridge posts to the concrete footings are still visible today. As with all the other bridges, though, none of the timbers remain. The 7-meter embankment is one of the most notable points of interest along this section of the line. Not nearly as big as the Kinsayok embankment, it is a massive embankment nonetheless. At track level, there are large pits which resemble bomb craters. These are not bomb craters, they're subsidence pits where the fill in the embankment has settled. However, there are a number of bomb craters in the valley around this embankment. At the end of the embankment, the 3-tier bridge began. This tall trestle bridge is often incorrectly referred to as the Pack of Cards Bridge, which actually lies nearly a kilometre farther along the line. There is one large bomb crater in the gully which this bridge crossed, and many other craters can be found in a row stretching to the south from the bridge. Photo 5 shows the view from the end of the embankment, looking across where the 3-tier bridge stood and towards Hintok Cutting, which is obscured by the trees. This wartime photo was taken from roughly the same location and shows the bridge structure as well as the track disappearing into Hintok Cutting at the far end. At the end of the 3-tier bridge is the Hintok Cutting. At the beginning of the cutting, on the left-hand side, there is a large bomb crater in the rocks above the track. Not visible from track level, you'll need to climb up a few meters to see it. The Hintok Cutting is another huge feature, almost as deep as Hellfire Pass. Photo 4 shows Hintok Cutting looking back towards the 3-tier bridge. This is the end of the worst of the terrain, and the ground is more level beyond this point. The track continues in a straight line from Hintok Cutting, and about 70 meters from the end of the cut, you'll find another large bomb crater on the right-hand side. The track continues for another 250 meters before reaching Hintok Road. This is around 2.5 kilometers from Hellfire Pass Museum. In recent years, the trail has been closed by the Thai Army beyond Hintok Road. I'm not sure if it will ever reopen. If not, this is as far as you can go, and you'll have to turn back here. Beyond Hintok Road, the track curved to the right through a shallow cutting. About 300 meters beyond the road, the ballast trace of the railway splits into a double track, which was the siding at Hintok Station. Photo 3 was taken between the two tracks, facing back towards the switch. Among other things, this station was used to load onto the trains barrels of cement which had been transported here by barge from downriver. Barrel-shaped concrete castings can be found in the jungle to the south of the track. These were barrels of cement that got wet during the monsoon rains and solidified. The wooden barrels themselves have decayed away, leaving just the barrel-shaped cement standing in the jungle. The siding track extends for 150 meters and then rejoins the main line south of Hintok Station. The station buildings were on the west side of the track. This photo shows Hintok Station during the war, looking south towards Compressor Cutting. South of Hintok Station, the actual site of the Pack of Cards Bridge begins here. The bridge spanned a low spot in the ground, but was so unstable that it collapsed 3 times during construction, hence the name. The Japanese decided to abandon the bridge, routing the line over an embankment slightly to the west of the collapsed bridge, and closer to the hillside. Photo 2 looks back at the point where the south end of the Pack of Cards Bridge started. On the right is the remains of the stone approach to the bridge, which was then abandoned in favor of the embankment you can see curving off to the left. Just beyond the Pack of Cards Bridge lies Compressor Cutting, named after the pneumatic drills and air compressors that were used in its construction. This cutting curves to the right as it carves through a rocky bluff that slopes down towards the river. Photo 1 was taken in Compressor Cutting, looking south. This is really the end of the groomed trail, if you even got this far. I took photos 1, 2, and 3 many years ago when the trail extended all the way to Compressor Cutting before it was closed at Hintok Road. From Compressor Cutting, the track continues northwest through the jungle towards Kanyu Station and then Kinsayok. But this is as far as we'll go in this video. This part of the railway is covered in the Kanu video on this channel. From this point, you will need to retrace your steps back to the Hellfire Pass Museum, about 4¼ kilometers away. This clip shows the trail from Hintock Road to Hintock Cutting. So how can you travel up to explore this part of the railway? Many of the hotels and guest houses in Kanchanaburi offer guided tours to Hellfire Pass. These tours will give you a short time to explore the museum and trail to Hellfire Pass. This would offer you a quick look if you're in a hurry, but they won't wait for you if you want to spend more time here, and there really is much to see. Alternatively, you could rent a motorbike or car and drive yourself up to explore at your leisure. Or, bus 8203 also passes by along the highway here, so that would be a good alternative if you don't want to drive. When you get on the bus, tell the conductor you want to go to Hellfire Pass, and they will know where to drop you off. There is a large sign at the roadside anyway, so you won't get lost. From the highway, it's an easy 500-meter walk to the museum. Keep in mind that the last bus back to Kanchanaburi in the afternoon passes here around 4:30. The Hellfire Pass Museum is well worth a visit. They have a scale model of the railway line through this area, as well as many excellent exhibits and videos. You will probably spend around an hour inside. At the museum, you can rent headsets with pre-recorded talks about the points of interest along the trail. Also worth visiting is the lookout over the river valley, which you'll find along the trail just past Hellfire Pass. At the height of construction during the war, there were thousands of POWs and Asian laborers working on the railway simultaneously all along the line in this area. This is a fairly easy hike as the trail is clear and well groomed, so you could wear shorts and a t-shirt, but better wear sturdy shoes as the trail has many rocks underfoot. The trail also has some steep slopes and uneven surfaces beyond Hellfire Pass. Bring some water with you for the hike, but food and drinks are available at the Hellfire Pass Museum. You have a number of options for this hike. A quick walk through Hellfire Pass and back will be around 1 kilometer, including many flights of stairs to get down to track level. Walking to Hintock Road and back will be around 5 kilometers, and if you can go beyond Hintock Road, the walk all the way to Compressor Cutting and back will be around 9 kilometers. And finally, like I've said many times before, this railway is a site of historic importance. Please don't take anything, and please don't leave any litter behind. Remember the thousands of people who died under appalling conditions constructing this railway, and treat what remains of it with the respect it deserves. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting or informative. If so, please give the video a like and feel free to subscribe to this channel and check out the other videos on different sections of the railway. And if you do get out here to Hellfire Pass and do this hike, let me know how it went in the comments below. I'd really like to hear from you. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.